Riley's going to teach me how to do fractions today because they're pretty challenging.
All right, Sophia, here we go. For this lesson, we're going to work on multiplying fractions again, since we have done it in class before, but it can be a little bit challenging sometimes, especially when our fractions get bigger. So, we are going to be using a manipulative today called a fraction block. And with these fraction blocks, they can help us to solve these problems a little bit easier, and it's also a really good way to check our work. So, with our first problem here, we have 4 times 1/2. Now, we see that 4 here is a whole number, as we've talked about, and 1/2 is a fraction. And sometimes our brains can get a little bit confused when we're multiplying with a whole number and a fraction. So we're going to go ahead and rewrite the number 4 as a fraction, which is actually 4 over 1. And we're going to keep the 1/2 the same, of course. So now we have two fractions. We have 4, or 4 over 1, times 1/2. So now let's go ahead and multiply. So I'm going to put my 1/2 block down here. Now, again, looking at our problem, I love the fraction 1/2 so much that I want to multiply it 4 times in order to get my answer. So let me get these, and I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Perfect. So now that I've done that, all I have to do is add them up. So I have 1/2, 2 halves, 3 halves, 4 halves. So let me write that on here, or 4 over 2. Now, can we go further with this? Can this fraction become smaller?
Yes.
Perfect, it can. So, another way we can do this, instead of just reducing like we normally would on paper, we can make sure that we are 100% right by using our blocks. So if we look here, we can actually stick our 1/2 blocks together to make a whole number.
Oh, wow.
Just like that. And since we have 2 left over, we can do it again. So now all we have to do is add up our whole numbers. 1 plus 1 is
2.
perfect. So 4 over 2, or 2. There's our first problem. Easy enough, yeah?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and give it a try for our second problem. This problem we're going to get a little bit trickier, and we're going to be using a bigger whole number that we're going to be multiplying by. So in this problem, we have 1/4 times 7. So let's go ahead and rewrite that so we don't confuse ourselves. 1 over 4 times 7 over 1. So our 1/4 block is a little bit smaller than our 1/2, which is true because 1/4 is smaller than 1/2. And again, I love 1/4 so much, I'm going to multiply it 7 times. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then same thing as before, I'm going to add them up. 1 over 4, 2 over 4, 3 over 4, 4 over 4, 5 over 4, 6 over 4, and 7 over 4. Alright, do you think that we can reduce 7 over 4 at all?
Yes.
You're right, we sure can. If we look here, if we put 4 of our 1/4 blocks together, it makes a whole again. Now, since we only have 3 left over this time, we can't make another whole number, so we're just going to add them up. So we're going to get 1 and 1, 2, 3 over 4, which is our answer. Alright, let's make it even trickier now. With 2 over 4 times 3. Alright, again, we're going to rewrite our whole number as a fraction. 2 over 4 times 3 over 1. Alright, now notice here that we have 2 1/4 blocks that we're going to be working with. So I'm going to put them just on top of each other like this. Now again, I love my 2/4 fraction so much, I need to multiply it 3 times. There's 2 times, and 3 times. And then I am going to go ahead and add all of those up. 2 over 4, 4 over 4, 6 over 4. Let me write that in our answer. Now, we can also put these together again to make a whole number. Notice that we have a whole number here. 1, you're right, and we have 2 1/4 blocks, which is actually a 1/2 block. Perfect. So 6 over 4 is going to equal 1 and 1/2. All right, last one. We're going to use a completely different fraction now than what we've been working with, and that is going to be our 1/3 fraction.
Oh boy.
But I think you can do it. So let's go ahead and rewrite it again. 2 as our whole number is going to become our fraction of 2 over 1 times 2/3. So we're not going to use just one 1/3 block. We're going to use 2 of them. And I love my 2/3 blocks so much. I'm going to multiply them twice. There's 1. And there is 2. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add those up as well. We have 2 over 3 and 4 over 3. Let me write my answer there. All right, now, just as we have been doing in the other problems, we can reduce this down even more. So let me put block here. Does this look like a whole number?
Yes.
Do I need to add any more?
No.
Perfect. Good. So 3 1/3 blocks becomes a whole, and we just have 1/3 left over. So we're going to write it as 1 and 1/3. So 2 times 2/3 equals 4/3, or 1 and 1/3.
Wow. Thanks, Miss Riley. That made fractions so much easier.
You're welcome. Great job.